Terima kasih Bapak Ibu Dekan dan juga Direktur PPS yang sudah masuk di Zoom ya.
Cek satu.
Bisa. Terima kasih Bapak dan Ibu sekalian dari berbagai provinsi dan juga dari luar negeri. Ya, thank you very much for attending this international conference. Yeah. Hopefully we have very good discussion in this conference. Vice Dean for Academic Affairs, FA, yeah. Vice Dean for Finance Affairs and also Vice Dean for Student Affairs, Fakultas Ekonomi, Pak Dr. Agung Yulianto and also Bu Dr. Amin Pujiati, Bapak Dr. Doro Jadu Bihandono.
cek 1 2.
welcome Pak Gunawan Cokro and also Associate Professor Wenha from Taiwan. Welcome to this international conference.
Hello, good morning, Prof.
Good morning. How are you, Pak Cokro?
Nice meeting you. Thank you for inviting me, Pak.
Thank you very much for coming to this international conference.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Mas sehat, Pak? Ya, Pak ya.
Alhamdulillah Pak, sehat walafiat. Bagaimana Pak Gunawan?
Ya.
Sehat ya?
Sehat Pak, sehat.
Alhamdulillah ya. Pokoknya harus selalu sehat dan panjang umur. Ya.
Indonesia is the most beautiful land in the universe. The land where we were born. The nation where we grew up. So many colors that live together in peace. With a million timeless treasures. With an abundance of natural wealth. Indonesia is not just wonderful. Indonesia is a wonderland.
Kota baru gunungnya bermegah, bermegah, bermanapun di sekarang, bermanapun di sekarang. Bertemu lawanlah Adinda, Adinda iman di dada, sama layak iman di dada, sama layak. Sayang si patokaan matego gorokan sayang si patokaan matego gorokan sayang sajojo you madam komi sa papare sa muna keke sa muna keke soleram anak yang manis janganlah dicium sayang kalau dicium merah pipinya kampunan jauh di mata kunwangsan sebaku milian takkan aja kawan-kawanan lamo sangke basuh yang surian Picer nangis anakku sing ayu rupane setiap pendekare bangsa.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Good morning, the Honorable Rektor Universitas Negeri Semarang, Profesor Dr. Fatur Rahman M. Hum. The Honorable Dean Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Profesor Herianto, MBA, PhD. The Honorable distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our speaker, the Honorable Professor Dr. Zainuri Mastur, SA MSI AKT, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Universitas Negeri Semarang. The Honorable Mr. Gunawan Cokro, MBA, President Commissioner of Dynaplast Indonesia. The Honorable Dr. Pan Wei Hua, Dean of International Affairs, National Yunlin University of Science and Technology, Taiwan. The Honorable Dr. Sandi Arif, Assistant Professor, Universitas Negeri Semarang, and all the beloved participants. Welcome to the International Conference on Economics, Business, and Economic Education, Icebees 2022. The theme of the conference is Emerging Stronger to the Next Normal, Organizational Agility, Innovation, and Resilience in the Post-COVID-19 Era. My name is Amelia, and I am your host today. On behalf of the organizers, we wish to extend our warm welcome and thank you to all participant guests of honor. This conference is going to be held in 2 days from August 9th to 10th, 2022. This year, the Icebees 2022 is organized by Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang, in collaboration with Universitas Tidar. Ladies and gentlemen, on this special event, we have several agendas as follows. First is listening to the national anthem of Republic Indonesia. Second, the Dean's welcoming remarks. Third, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs keynote session. Fourth, certificate handover. Fifth, prayer. Sixth, plenary speaker session. Seventh, publication workshop. And finally, the parallel session. Ladies and gentlemen, our first session is listening to the national anthem of Republic Indonesia, Indonesia Raya.
Indonesia tanah airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu ibuku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita bersatu, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanah bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya, bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah raganya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
The next agenda is Dean's welcoming remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, I would like to invite the Dean, Faculty of Economics, to deliver welcoming remarks. Please welcome Professor Herianto, MBA, PhD.
Thank you very much, Amelia. His Excellency Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Professor Dr. Zainuri Mastur, MSc AKT, distinguished speakers, deans, and director of postgraduates, Universitas Negeri Semarang, distinguished participants and guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. May peace be upon us. I'm pleased to welcome you to the 5th International Conference on Economics, Business, and Economics Education Science, or Icebees, 2022, under the theme, Emerging Stronger to the Next Normal, Organizational Agility, Innovation, and Resilience in the Post-COVID-19 Era, organized by the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang, in collaboration with Universitas Tidar Magelang. First of all, I would be reasonable to present the statistic that some of you might find shocking. To be more precise, in accordance with the data provided by the World Meta Statistics, the number of people infected by COVID-19 has increased very significantly, and right now reached number more than 589 million people all over the world. Until now, this number is still increasing significantly. The death toll due to COVID-19 has almost reached 7 million people, and this number continues to climb. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly affected human life, including affecting economic growth in all countries. The COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated the need for organization to be able to weather major unforeseen disruption. Organizations should be able to absorb and adapt to the challenge of the COVID-19 pandemic successfully. Otherwise, they will be in a big trouble. Many also find themselves making decisions at speed, which would have been unthinkable in pre-COVID-19 times. What characteristics these organizations? What creates kind of resilience? And how can organizations apply the lessons learned from COVID-19 pandemic so they can apply strategy in post-COVID-19 era? To discuss this question, we have three incredible experts. They are Mr. Gunawan Cokro, MBA, President Commissioners of Dynaplus Indonesia. Welcome to this conference, Bapak Cokro. Yeah, thank you very much. And also Associate Professor Dr. Pan Waikwa, Dean of International Affairs, National Union University of Technology, of Science and Technology, NYUST, Taiwan. Welcome to this conference, Professor. Yeah. and also our lecturer, Assistant Professor Sandi Ari PhD from the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang. Ladies and gentlemen, we have more than 70 presenters from both domestic and international. There are Institut Teknologi Bandung, Universitas Negeri Padang, Universitas Bina, Universitas Rio, University Malaysia Sabah, just to mention some of them. Conferences such this provide a valuable opportunity for researchers, industry specialists, and also decision makers to share experience and also knowledge. I'm grateful to all of you who have come to this conference. These 70 papers would be published in Scopus Index Proceedings, Scopus Index Journals, and also Sinta Index Journals. Currently, we are still conducting online conference, considering the COVID-19 pandemic is still not over yet, and we don't know for sure when it will end. We must continue to implement health protocols in order to curb the transmission of coronavirus. There are also some people, like our children, to whom our behavior may serve as a model to follow. We are responsible for those people and should put our best effort to raise their awareness and convince them that it is better for us to have little trouble carrying out health protocol, but keep our health and welfare safe. I would like to end my remarks today with notes of appreciation to the organizing committee led by Associate Professor Dr. Srivartini for their energy and commitment in organizing the conference and ensuring the success of it. I wish you every success with this important conference, and I look forward to learning about the outcome. May God protect us and bless us abundantly. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Salam.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Professor Herianto, MBA, PhD. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our conference for today, we pray. Pray, begin. Pray and the next agenda is keynote session. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Vice Rector for Academic Affairs, Universitas Negeri Semarang. Please welcome Professor Dr. Zainuri Mastur, SA, MSI, AKT.
Thank you. I want to presentation PPT from Pak Rector. Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning from Indonesia. First of all, next slide. Back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Allah SWT for blessing and mercy that we could assemble in the 5th International Conference Economics, Business, and Economic Education Science, or Icebees 2022. Next slide. The Excellency invites speakers. The first, Dr. Pan Wehwa from Taiwan, Bapak Gunawan Cokro, MBA, President Commissioner of Dina Plus Indonesia. Selamat pagi Pak Gunawan.
Pagi Pak, pagi Pak.
Sugeng Lawuh. Good morning, Dr. Pan Wehwa. Sandi Arif, PhD from Universitas Negeri Semarang, Faculty of Economics, Indonesia. And also the first Dean, especially Dean Faculty of Economics and Head of Institution in Universitas Negeri Semarang and Universitas Tidara Magelang. Distinguished guests and all participants. Allow me, Rector UNES, I take great pleasure to welcoming you all in this conference. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the vision of Universitas Negeri Semarang is to be a conservation insight university with international reputation. We continuously build and develop collaboration with foreign institutions to improve human resources and bring out goodness to the world. UNES as a house of science. We always do the very best to produce quality human resources in various fields in order to make better life. The next slide. I extend my sincere gratitude to the committee of the 5th Icebees for their untiring effort to organize this prestigious international conference with interesting theme, emerging stronger to the next normal, organizational agility, innovation, and resilience in the post-COVID-19 era. This theme intends to give the impression and affirmation that the development of the globalization era is so fast. The upgrading of the business and the presence of Faculty of Economics UNES is expected to be able to discuss and answering various problems that arise in the current and future era and in line with UNES vision. Ladies and gentlemen, currently, these are the challenges in today's global era: climate change, Industrial Revolution 4.0, and post-COVID-19 outbreak. Therefore, we need the leadership, agility, the renew itself, adapt, change quickly, and succeed in the rapidly changing, ambiguous, and turbulent environment. By the end, we can strengthen the economic during the post-COVID-19 outbreak while embracing possible long-term change in consumer preference and demand. Also, the leadership agility should facilitate, adapt, innovate to ensure a sustainable organizational emergence in today's era. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, it is expected this 5th Icebees can produce significant and valuable ideas and also design the first possible contribution to the education system both in Indonesia and the world. In the end of my speech, let me read the quote from Neil Armstrong: "Research is creating new knowledge." Thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy with conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you,
Thank you very
Professor
much.
Dr. Zainuri Mastur, SA, MSc, AKT. Ladies and gentlemen, before proceeding to the plenary speaker, witnessed by the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs and Dean, Faculty of Economics, We are providing certificate of appreciation to the following plenary speaker and moderator. Please, for the operator to take pictures to this amazing moment.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I should say something, moderator. Pak Gunawan Cokro
Yeah.
and also Dr. Pan Wenha, on the behalf of the Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang, I hand over a certificate of appreciation to you for sharing knowledge and experience in this international conference. Thank you so much for everything. Hopefully everything will be okay, and we are going to conduct another international conference in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you very much, Pak Gunawan. Thank you, Dr. Wenha. Yeah. Thank
Prof.
you, Pak Sedi Arif, and also Vice Rector for Academic Affairs. Very nice presentation. Yeah. Yes, that's all. MC. Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, before moving to the next agenda, please to all participants to turn on the camera and please using the virtual background. We will do the photo session to picture this moment. Turn on the camera, please. We will take the picture in 3, 2, 1. Screen 1, cheers. Screen 2, cheers. Screen 3, cheers. Screen 4, cheers. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, moving right along to the next agenda, plenary speaker session. The moderator for this session is Ms. Inaya Sarimlati, SPD, MPD. Inaya is an assistant professor in Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang. She actively publishes her research articles in international reputable journal and become a reviewer in some national and international journals. In 2021, Inaya graduated from a professional education program held by Tsinghua University entitled Happy Digital X, Cities System, Products and Services. Inaya is also a language enthusiast and just finished her basic Chinese online course in Confucius Institute. Right now, Inaya is pursuing her doctoral degree in the Economic Education Doctoral Program of Universitas Negeri Malang. Her research interests are sustainable entrepreneurship, teaching circular economy, and classroom action research. To Ms. Inaya Sarimlati, SPD MPD, time is yours.
Thank you for your kind introduction, Ms. Amelia. His Excellency, Vice Rector for Academic Affairs of Universitas Negeri Semarang, Dean of Faculty of Economics, Vice Deans, distinguished speakers, all invited guests, and all participants of Icebees 2022. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, Xiang Hao. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Inaya, and I'm very honored to be your moderator today. Icebees is an annual event held by Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Indonesia. Each year, Icebees always brings up a highly relevant issues to be discussed together with reputable experts around the world. And this year is very special concerning with what happened in our Earth today. After more than 2 years, WHO declared COVID-19 as a pandemic on March 2020. Today, we still have to fight COVID-19. Even some experts said, now we have to accept this virus as a new friend in our life. Well, I better say that they are frenemy, maybe friend, but also enemy. But anyway, haven't finished with COVID-19. Now the monkeypox outbreak appears. WHO revealed that more than 80,000 cases of monkeypox were found from 78 countries around the world. This condition is worsened by, not to mention, US-China trade war, Russia and Ukraine war, and the newest one is the tensions between China and Taiwan, which clearly affects the global food chain supplies and prices. And some countries are in danger of falling into an economic recession. However, no matter how complicated the current conditions are, still we need to survive personally and institutionally. Therefore, the Icebees 2022 topic today is emerging stronger to the next normal, organizational agility, innovation, and resilience in the post-COVID-19 era. We are going to have an inspirational talk with the distinguished speakers who are very expert in their field to discuss about strategies we need to know to survive or even increase our performance in this era. Now, we have been connected with all the incredible speakers. For today, we have Mr. Gunawan Chokro, MBA from Jinapas. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning.
Gunawan.
Good morning.
How are
Mbak.
you?
Fine, Mbak. Fine. How are you?
Thank you. I'm very great today because can meet all of
Nice meeting
participant
you.
speakers here. Thank you, Mr. Gunawan. And for the second speaker, we have Dr. Pan Weiwa from National Yunlin University of Science and Technology, Taiwan. Ni hao, Dr. Pan.
你好。
That's the only thing I remember from my course, actually.
Maybe I can
Okay.
say
Okay.
some Indonesian more than you.
Oh,
colleague.
yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, right. And the third speaker is the rising star from the Faculty of Economics, UNES. Please meet my colleague and also my best friend, Mr. Sandi Arif, PhD. Good morning, Mr. Sandi.
Good morning, Bu Inaya. How are you? Good morning, Pak Gunawan,
Good
Dr.
morning.
Pan.
Good morning, Mas Andi.
Okay,
Everyone. Thank you.
you're welcome. It's an honor to meet you all, my incredible speakers for today. And all of you will have 40 minutes to deliver a presentation, starting from Mr. Gunawan and then followed by Dr. Pan and Dr. Sandi. And for the participants, you may send your question into the chat box during the presentations. And in the end of this presentation session, I will choose some questions from the chat box to be asked to the speakers. And if we still have enough time, you can raise your virtual hand and ask your question directly to the speaker you address. Okay, I think that's clear. And let's start the plenary session. We begin with Mr. Gunawan Chokro, I guess.
Yes.
I will have to share the screen if you're not mind, Mr. Gunawan.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but before Mr. Gunawan Chokro starts his presentation, I would like to read the brief CV of Mr. Gunawan Chokro, MBA. Right now, Mr. Gunawan Chokro, MBA is the President Commissioner of Jinapas and Commissioner of Cipta Dana Asset Management, and also the President Commissioner of Gunanusa Era Mandiri Group. He also has a central position in other organizations. The first one is the head of capital market in Indonesian Employer Association, or APindo, deputy head of monetary policy and financial services in Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, or Kadin, supervisory board of IITD, Indonesian Institute of Corporate Directorship, advisory board of Indonesian Public Listed Company Association, or AEI, and National Task Force of LCS in Indonesian Central Bank. I guess the last position is related to Mr. Gunawan's presentation today.
Yes.
Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
The local currency settlement
Correct.
for Indonesian economy. Okay, Mr. Gunawan, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Mbak Inaya. Good morning to all of you, the participants of this seminar. Do you hear me well? Inaya? Is my voice
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, before I start with my presentation, let me express my gratitude to some people who I believe in behind this successful seminar today. First, I like to express my gratitude to Pak Wakil Rektor, Syainuri, Pak Wakil Rektor Syainuri. Terima kasih Pak untuk keynote-nya. Also salam send my regard to Pak Rektor also, Profesor Faktur. Also, I like to express my thanks to Prof. Harry, who is inviting me to be one of the speaker today. Terima kasih Pak. Salam sehat.
Sama-sama.
Yeah, of course. Also, I like to extend my thanks to the organizer, who has been working very hard to prepare this seminar this morning. Hopefully this seminar is very useful and very successful. Last but not least, I like also to say hello to my to the other speakers. Prof. Pan from Taiwan. It's nice meeting you, Prof. If you happen to be in Jakarta in the near future, let me know. We can arrange a short meeting, maybe lunch or dinner together. Also to Mas Andi,
Ya, Pak Gunawan.
salam kenal, selamat pagi, salam sehat.
Salam kenal, Pak.
Well, today I like to present economic topic, which I believe is quite new in this country. And I will later on to explain to all of you, the participants, what is the meaning of local currency settlement and what is the purpose of this program, so that we all understand that this is one of the strategy of the government to speed up the recovery, economic recovery, post COVID-19. Okay, let's go to the first slide, please. Yes, this is the outline of my presentation. But Inaya, I don't think I will use 40 minutes of my time. Probably I will share maybe 10 to 15 minutes to my other colleague for the other speakers.
It's okay, sir.
Okay.
We can
Okay, let's go to
elaborate
the next slide,
discussion
please.
later.
Introduction. Next slide.
Mute. Mute.
Between customer in Indonesia and partner countries using the local currency through what we call ACCD bank or appointed cross-currency dealer. So in this program, government has appointed about around 16 banks to help this transaction. I will explain a little bit more later on. So basically, the LCS is this is a bilateral transaction. If we as a business people in Indonesia want to sell something to China, for example, what is happening today, we have to quote, to send a quotation to China in US dollars. So again, the Chinese buyer has to pay us in US dollar. So with this LCS program, we are no longer using US dollar as in the payment system. So the government has agreed with 4 countries, Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, and China, and then we starting using the local currency. So again, starting today, if I want to sell my product to China, I can give a quotation in Chinese yuan. And if I'm importing goods from China, I can pay using rupiah, no longer US dollar. This is the unique of this LCS. Well, again, LCS is not going to replace US dollar as in the payment system totally, no. But again, LCS is only offering alternative to the business people, yeah, so that they don't depend too much on US dollar. Yeah, okay. You remember when the war in Ukraine started a few months ago, yeah, and then US supported by all the European countries imposed economic sanction to Russia, yeah, and then suddenly the ruble, the ruble currency of Russia dropped significantly because of this issue, yeah. But I think Vladimir Putin is a quite smart president. What he did, as we all understand, what he did, and then he forced all the European buyers, if you want to pay from Russia, natural gas or many other things, you have to pay me in ruble. Yeah, no longer in US dollar. Yeah. So actually, what the Putin is doing, actually he has implemented what so-called local currency settlement. Yeah. So the payment between European and Russia, they are no longer using US dollar as a media. They go direct. Yeah. We go direct. Yeah. Ruble. I will show you also the benefit of this LCS later on in my next slide. Yeah. So again, what I heard also from my friend in the central bank, some countries and Arabian countries and even Israel also now starting using Chinese yuan when they do a transaction with the Chinese partner. Okay, next slide, please. Well, so far, Indonesia has signed 4 agreements with 4 countries. Yeah. So starting in 2018, yeah, Central Bank has signed agreement with Malaysia and Thailand. But again, the trade transaction between Indonesia and Malaysia, also Indonesia and Thailand, is not big yet. Yeah, it's growing up, but it's still small compared to the transaction between Indonesia to Japan or Indonesia to China. Indonesia to China is like 60 billion US dollar. Yeah, and then on December 2019, yeah. Again, Central Bank is signing another MOU with Japan. So now, Indonesian business people, they want to buy something from Japan, they are no longer using US dollar. They can pay rupiah or they can pay yen. Yeah. If the Indonesian people want to pay yen, they have to go to the SCCD bank to get yen. Yeah. And then the Japanese seller want to receive in yen, the rupiah from Indonesia, they can also convert it into yen, Japanese yen, in SCCD bank in Japan. Yeah, so this is already part of the agreement. And then again in the 2020, in September 2020, this is very important because China transaction with Indonesia is very big. Yeah, 60 to 70 billion US dollar a year. You remember, yeah, before this commodity price up, we always have a deficit. And our current account deficit is always like 13 billion US dollar. So in other words, if the transaction between Indonesia and China, 50% can be done using the LCS system. Then actually, there will be no more current account deficit in Indonesia. And that will help to stabilize the currency, rupiah currency, against US and against another currency in the world. Okay, this is also a very important date. On the June 16 in Bandung, the central bank, the Bu Desti, the deputy senior, yeah, central bank in Bandung, kick off, yeah, they call it National Task Force Team, and I'm one of the member of this team. There are 16 people in this team, and 14 from the government. Eselon 1 the government, yeah, from the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Industry, all kind of ministry, and 2 from the business community, Indonesia Chamber of Commerce, and I'm one of the 2. So now we are doing a lot of activities, yeah. Last month in Bali, and then this month we are going to Surabaya, where we will gather all the business people in Surabaya, and then we will inform them about this LCS, and also government is preparing incentive, yeah, so that the business people can support this LCS program. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, this is the law protection. Yeah, actually, government already put LCS as part, yeah, as one of the strategy to speed up the economic recovery program, yeah, after the COVID-19, yeah. So this is the law number 2, yeah, and in the law number 2 of 2020, LCS is already part of this inside the law, yeah. So actually, what we are doing today, we have already the umbrella, yeah, the legal protection already, yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, why LCS is important? Yeah, first, yeah, you know that US is one of the source of the turbulence in the world. Yeah, if politically or economically something happen in US, then it will affect us. Yeah, sometimes we as a business people, when we sleep at night, we believe that rupiah will be okay. But in the morning, something maybe in the midnight, something happened in the US. In the morning, we see that the rupiah already weakening. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And look what happened. Yeah, Prop Pang. What happened when the Pelosi visited Taiwan recently? Also, there's always a fluctuation in the US. Yeah. So again, LCS program is not going to replace US as in the system payment, but rather to offer the business people as an alternative, yeah, offering the alternative. Yeah, so we believe that we cannot replace all. Yeah, but I think partly. Yeah, so it can help to stabilize our currency. Yeah, so again, the ASEAN countries trading activities is going up slowly. Yeah, so if you have a LCS program that will make everything easier, faster, and cheaper. Yeah, why faster? Because with Malaysia, Thailand, China, and Japan, we are more or less on the same time zone. So the time difference is only 1 or 2 hours. Yeah, if you are using US dollar, sometimes your remittance, yeah, if you are transferring money to other country, because it goes to US first, sometimes it will take 1 or 2 days. Yeah, so that is the timing difference. Yeah, it's very important. Secondly, also because we go direct in terms of cost, hedging cost, everything is cheaper. Yeah, and of course, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of the alternative for the currency diversification. Okay, let's slide this. Yes, I think this is very important data which I can give it to you. Yeah, this is last year. Yeah, I think this year with China, I think more than 60 billion. Yeah, probably reaching nearly 70 billion. Yeah, also with Japan going up. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Malaysia and Thailand is still quite low compared to Japan and China, but growing up. Yeah, growing up slowly. So yeah, so this number or this data is not including the direct investment. So if there is like, for example, the Chinese business people come to Indonesia, invest, it's not recorded here. This is only the trade, the trade, yeah, transaction between the two countries. Okay, next slide, please. This is the position of the LCS activity until today. Still very, very, very low. Yeah, with Malaysia only 3.3%, but again, the total transaction is also still low. Yeah, also with Thailand. Look at the China, it's less than 1%. Yeah, but again with China, the transaction, trade transaction is much more bigger compared with Thailand and Malaysia. But again, the target of the central bank, for example, this year, if we can reach 5%, we are already happy. And then another year, maybe another 5% slowly. So yeah, we go slowly. And also in the future, we also expecting that the MOU, the agreement, not only with these 4 countries, but we also expand it to other countries as well. Okay, next slide, please. Yes, Yeah, as I told you earlier, this is the benefit of the LCS implementation. Yeah, number one, yeah, the benefit is, of course, we will reduce the dependency on US dollars. Yeah. And number two, lowering transaction costs. I also mentioned earlier because of the direct quotation. Yeah. Also on the time zone. Yeah. We are more or less on the same time zone. So transaction can be done in the same day. Yeah. Yeah. So also the most important thing in this slide that the government is now, especially the Ministry of Finance, is now working very hard to prepare the incentive for the companies who like to join this LCS program. Yeah. Okay. Next slide, please. Yes. In every policy, there is always a challenge. Yeah. This is the challenge that we have been discussing with Central Bank, and I believe in the near future, Central Bank must be able to address to this or to find the solution of this issue. The issue is that most exporters, not only in Indonesia, but also in China, Thailand, and Malaysia, and Japan, when they sell something or they export their good to other country, they still prefer to receive US dollar as a payment. Why? Because they say the LCS is only covering 4 countries, where they still need US dollar to pay their raw material, to pay their machinery buying from other country outside this 4 countries. So in other words, they still need the US dollar, yeah, for their to run their business. Yeah. Of course, when the LCS program will be expanded to more countries, then of course this issue will be becoming less and less important. Yeah. Yeah. And then we believe, yeah, Central Bank now is preparing incentive, yeah, and preparing some strategy how to address this issue. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that is the end of my presentation. Mbak Inaya, yeah. If later on, if there will be a Q&A, I will be more than happy to entertain all the questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gunawan. So the thing that I want to confirm is ACCG Bank.
Yeah.
It is the new bank or it's
No,
just the bank?
it is an old bank. It is an existing bank. For example, I will give you some of the name. Yeah, like in Indonesia, for example, yeah, BCA, yeah, Mandiri, BNI, BRI, ICBC di Indonesia, Bank of China, yeah, and then China Construction Bank, ya, Maybank, Permata, Danamon, UOB, ya, BTPN. Itu semua all the bank operating local here. And then in China, we have also ICBC, PUC, yeah, and then Bank of China, yeah, Bank of Ningbo, yeah, Mandiri Shanghai, Maybank Shanghai. All these banks are working together to help the business people to settle the transaction. Yeah.
So actually, the banks have been ready to do the.
Oh yeah. The bank is already existing bank. Only the central bank, with the central bank, the Indonesian and also the partner countries agreed to select some bank who have the capability to help this transaction. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Guran, I see. I think this is a brilliant idea from government to use the local currency settlement.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Gunawan. And
My
for the
pleasure.
participants.
My pleasure.
Okay. So before we go to the second speaker, I would like to remind the participants, if you have any question, you can type your name, your institution, and the name of Mr. Gunawan, for example, followed by your question and send it into the chat box. I think some question has been on the chat box, but we will answer it in the question and answer session after this, after all the presenters have presented their ideas. Okay, now we move to the second presenters. Miss Dr. Pan Wei. Dr. Pan will talk about post-pandemic perspectives of the new economic in 2022. But before, I would like to read the brief CV of Dr. Pan Weihua for you, dear participants. So Dr. Pan got his PhD from University of Birmingham, UK, and he also experienced PCMPCL training program from University of Harvard, US. He's also the chairman of business management in NYUSC, deputy dean of international affairs NYUSC, the director of continuing education center NYUSC. He had done many visiting professors, such as in Institute Teknologi 10 November ITS Indonesia, National Saratov Technical University of Russia, Vietnam Commerce University Vietnam, and right now he's here in Universitas Negeri Semarang, Indonesia. Dr. Pan is also the National Chair of Business Division of National Skills Competition. His research interests are in international business and strategic management. He is also the columnist and has been the columnist for 8 years and has written more than 100 columns. Incredible. And he also have published more than 60 various academic papers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's give applause for Dr. Pan Weihua. Welcome, Dr. Pan.
Yes, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Can
very
I
clear, Dr.
control
Pan.
my computer, or can I share my screen by myself? Or you will do it by for me? Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay. I would like to share my screen.
Okay, wait.
Okay. Okay. Today, my topics is related to the post-pandemic perspectives of the new economy situations in the year 2022. Okay. I found Mr. Gunawang's speech is very interesting and also very useful for me. Do you know why? Because I remember when the year 2014, I was the visiting professors in Saratov in Russia. At that time, I get my salary for teaching there for about a month. But then after Crimean crisis, okay, my Russian rubles depreciate by roughly 50%. Okay.
Sorry to hear that, Prof.
Okay, so now I really understand, okay, how we should diversify our financial risk away, really. Okay. And also, Mr. Gunawan mentioned that Indonesia is very vulnerable to the global shock. In fact, Indonesia is already a big country, big enough, okay, the big enough to be neutral and big enough to be able to self-sustain, okay, in the global geopolitics competitions, okay. So therefore, Indonesia actually is, Taiwan is more vulnerable, you know, in that sense, okay, compared to Indonesia. Okay, because my research interest is related to the international businesses. Okay, so I constantly focus my my viewpoint on the Taiwan businessman's perspective. Okay, so I travel to Southeast Asia. I travel to China because a lot of the Taiwanese investments there. Okay, so therefore, this is a particular I like to address about the risks, okay, and how the Taiwanese firms, okay, should react to the new post-pandemic prospectus, okay, now, okay. Okay, first of all, I will talk about post-pandemic era and what is its implications to the businesses. And also, I like to mention some geopolitics conflicts. As you see, you know, a lot of the newspaper, outside newspapers, now they are intensively talking about the China military drill, okay, just outside the coast about the Taiwan, okay. It is a part of the geopolitics conflicts, okay, between the U.S. and China, okay. So U.S. and China, they have a trade war since year 2017. Since then, the trade war, they are spill over to many other different areas. Okay. Then we have a Russian-Ukrainian wars. Okay. You know, the pandemics and the geopolitical tensions, okay, they have some serious consequences for the international businesses. Okay. The number one is that there is a trend of the anti-globalizations. Okay. And also it gives rise to the supply chain crisis and also the inflation crisis as well, because the supply chain, the resettlements, it takes time. Okay, so it will definitely cause some disruptions on the supply chain. It will also help the inflations. Okay, inflation rising. Okay, so inflation is not not only a monetary phenomenon, okay, because of the QE or other the easing the monetary supply issues, but also there is the supply chain issues as well. Okay, but underlying the supply chain issues, actually it is a geographical conflicts within there. Okay, so we're talking about some paradigm change or paradigm shift in the supply chain. Okay, for example, like the so-called short chain revolutions, or that we also see some U.S. scholars now they are mentioning some so-called friendly outsourcing. Okay, then how Taiwanese firms or how Indonesian firms could respond to it. Okay, you know, the essence of the globalizations. Okay, actually is trade and the FDI, they are the means of the globalizations. Okay, the market globalizations means the broader markets, okay, for everyone, and particularly in every country they have affluent consumer segments on the top. Okay, so almost every different countries, the affluent customer segments, they enjoy roughly the same goods and the services. Okay, not much differences. And then there is an important essence of globalization, which is the global manufacturing. Okay, the global manufacturing, as we see from the textbook, it is a comparative advantage. The firm are looking for comparative advantages. Okay, they are trying to lower down their factor cost. Okay, so therefore you can see a lot of Taiwanese firms, they investing in China, and the China is moving up the wages and the factor cost moving very quickly. Okay, so now actually the levels wage between China and the coastal area of the China is not much differences. Okay. Also the supply chain in the global divisions of the level, okay, they are in the past it is based on the comparative advantages of the different countries. Okay, and also the something easily to be neglected is that the globalizations also means globalized capital. Okay, global capital. Particularly, you see some mixed ownership. Okay, in the multinational firms. For example, like the Taiwanese TSMC, which is the largest the semiconductor manufacturer company in the world. This company alone producing 55% of the semiconductor goods, okay, chips, okay, in the world. Okay, it is a Taiwanese company, but it is also a dual listing companies, okay, in the United States. Okay, so you can see a lot of the companies in China and in Taiwan, they are the so-called dual listed firms with mixed ownership. Okay, so later I will talking about this as well. But as you say, we have some disadvantages of globalizations. Okay, for example, like the intensified global competitions, and also the global industrial chains. Okay, they are if you can join in the global industrial chains. Okay, you were in these industries or these countries, obviously they are better off. Okay, so the global industrial chains redefine the core or the frontier in the world economies. Okay, and also there is the globalizations also it lead to the structural adjustments of the industry in every different countries. Okay, it causes some side effects. Okay, for example, like the structural unemployment, long time structural unemployment. Okay, so it lead to the polarized society. Okay, sometimes in Japan they call it the M-form society. So that means the gap between the rich and the poor, they are widening. Okay. Okay. Now we're talking about the COVID issues. Okay. COVID, as you see, the Taiwan and the China, we done pretty well, pretty good. Okay. While some other different countries like South Korea, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Japan, okay, and the Taiwan used to be done, and China pretty good. Okay, so actually we enjoy a lot of the manufacturing orders. Okay, shifting from South Korea to Taiwan, and also some Vietnamese the manufacture goods. Okay, they are shifting back to China, for example. Okay, because of the pandemic issues. And okay, so you can see this is Taiwan's purchasing procurement manager index. Okay, you can see the epidemic impacts in Taiwan is very strong. Okay, but you can see before the pandemics. Okay, the trade war impacts is also heavily damaging Taiwan's economies. Okay. Later, I will talking about the Taiwan and China. Economically, Taiwan and China, we are very close. Okay, but politically, okay, there is a tensions. Okay, between Taiwan and China. Particularly, there is a pro-independence the government in Taiwan. Okay, so it makes the tensions across the Taiwan Straits. Okay, is on the rise. Okay. But if you look at the deaths per 1,000 people in the major industry countries, okay, you can see this. Okay, you know the COVID is a very very weird. Okay, for example, like you see that like United States. Okay, there is a peaks and another peaks, another peaks and another peaks. Right. Okay. The German is also a very major industry countries. Okay, the Germans also have a few peaks. Okay, and South Korea, Japan, and also this is Taiwan, China. Okay, you see the different countries. Okay, they have a different the peak time for the for this. Okay, so you see the COVID transmissions. Okay, vary from regions to regions. Okay. The countries or regions with better epidemic control, sometimes they can enjoy better epidemic control dividends. Okay, they can enjoy the benefits. For example, we see a lot of the South Korea, the order, okay, shifting to Taiwan when the Korea they have a very severe the pandemic. Okay. So you know for the year 2000 and 2001, okay, China and Taiwan, it seems that we have a very good economies, okay, because we are not much affected, okay, by the pandemics, okay. Okay. Also, the different countries they have a different policy. Okay, some Western countries, okay, they have a more laissez-faire attitudes towards the COVID. The purposes of this policy is to keep the medical services and the resources, okay, not to be the collapsed, okay. And but some countries they tend to have excessive regulations. For example, like China, so they have to pay very high cost and the prices, okay, to these excessive measures, okay. Of course, they have an impact to the consumer retailers, okay. But I see this is a short and medium term volatilities, okay. And particularly because Taiwan is a major manufacturer countries, okay. So I particularly focusing on the supply chain impacts, okay. Okay, because of the transmissions and the COVID, okay, they have transmit varies from country to countries, okay. So that means it seems that we should decentralize our supply chain, and then, or we should have multiple suppliers, okay. For example, if you have the Korea and the Taiwan suppliers, once Korea was in problems, okay, now you can switch into Taiwan suppliers, okay. And also, before the pandemic, okay, the safety stocks or safety stocks is sometimes we say the zero stocks, okay, zero inventory, okay, in Taiwan, okay. But after the pandemic, we tend to say the safety stocks, okay, safety stock, because we want to keep everything safe, okay. This is a very big mindset changes, okay. And also the short term, sometimes you can see, because we want to keep the safety stocks, we see the short term over ordering, okay, over bookings issues, okay. And also you see, because of this, you see some seaport and the shipping congestions, okay, happens all over the world, okay. So, you know, because of this, there is a so-called the long wave effects of the supply chains, okay. The small changes in the retailers, it will have a very big fluctuations, okay, in the suppliers, okay. Okay. Also, we're talking about the changing geopolitical issues, okay. I think if we're talking about the geographical changes, we can take the changes in the past 20 years to see the traditional trade centers, okay, the changes, okay. So you can see this in the year 2000s, okay, the USA, Japan, and Deutschland, Germany, they are the major industrial center and the trade center of the world, okay. China is relatively smaller, okay. But if you look at the year 2017, okay, the major trade industrial trade countries centers is only become Deutschland, Germany, China, and USA. So you see the Japan is largely shrinkage, okay, shrinkages, okay. It gives its roles to China, and also the Korea, okay, is also the take some roles, okay, when the Japan it used to be. And also China is a major beneficiary in the globalization. So, okay, you can see the trade deficits between China and the US is widening. So that's why American, they want to launch the trade war against China because of this, okay. And also China in the past 20 years become the major biggest manufacturer. It outweighed American by in the year 2010 because of its manufacture exports outweighed the United States, okay. And also we see some changes in the multinational firms. If you see the Fortune Global 500, okay, this is the year 2017. In China, they have 109 firms, okay, if in listed in the Global 500. Now they have the bigger size, okay, more numbers, okay, in the Global 500 compared to the United States and Japan and other Western European countries, okay. And also China has a huge productivity. Okay, you see, this is in American in 100 years, they're producing 4.5 gigatons of this concrete cement. Okay, but in China, in only 3 years, it creates 6.6 gigatons of the cement. Okay. So you can see the China, okay, in just 3 years, its concrete productions is more than 100 years of the United States. Okay, so it's a really amazing productivities. Okay, and also we can see like the steel pipeline or the solar panels. Okay, China is outweighed America and all other major players in the world. Okay, in very short period of time. Okay, so that's why there is a trade war between U.S. and the China tariff. Okay, so you know the Chinese average tariff is about the green line. Okay, but the China U.S. okay sanctions on Chinese export to the United States. Okay, so you can see there is to a very high, roughly increased by 20% of all Chinese export goods to the United States. Okay. Also, China retaliate. Okay. American goods to China. Okay. And okay, who takes okay the opportunity? You see, the Vietnam okay is increasing sharply. A U.S. import okay since the 2017, and the Vietnam is the largest, biggest winners. So does Taiwan. You okay? China, okay, surprisingly, even though it was levied about 20% of the tariff, but it still managed to maintain, okay, the growth rate, maintain its levels, okay, its export to the United States. Okay, so you know that in Taiwan, we are very particularly we are concerned about is the U.S.-China is a long-term confrontation or short-term confrontations. You know, the U.S. Regarding China as a revisionist power, okay, that means they will change the world order, okay, and also hostile to China is become a cross-party consensus, okay, in the United States, okay. So I think it will going to be a long-term conflicts, okay. And the confrontations are not only from the trade, they are also spreading to other areas, for example, like the human rights issues, okay, in Xinjiang. For example, American accused that there is a Muslim genocide in Xinjiang, forced levels. To be honest, I don't believe that, okay, okay, because I have been to Xinjiang, okay, a few times, okay, so what I see, okay, is very different from the Western is saying about this, okay, and also the Hong Kong democracy issues, okay, and the Taiwan issues as well, okay. And China suspects that the U.S. support Taiwan from the de facto independence to the de jure independence, okay. So that's why the China, okay, reacting very strongly, particularly in just a few days ago. There is a visit by the House speakers, Ms. Pelosi, to Taiwan. Okay, so you can see now it is still ongoing. Okay, the China has a military drill just outside Taiwan. This is tensions. Okay, so you know we don't know Americans' ultimate goal. Okay, it seems very wobbly. Okay. Is it just simply to eliminate the trade deficits? Okay, but I see there is already more than that. Okay, suppress China to ensuring American leaderships, or changing China and make China submissions to its dominations of the world order. Okay, or try to overthrow the Chinese communist regimes. Okay, so far we don't know yet. Okay. Okay. So you know the Taiwan is the most embarrassing American allies. Okay, because Taiwan businessmen are even more embarrassed. Okay, why I mentioned that? Okay, I think I can give you this. This is very interesting. We see China as a world major exporting power, right? But you see the top 10 exporter in China, the top 7 of them, okay, is 7 of them is Taiwanese firms. Okay, so you can see the economically, the Taiwan and the China, we are very close tied. Okay, and also we have a 40% rely on China, Taiwan's exports. Okay, also all the Taiwan listed firms, 80% they invested in China, and 40% of their profit revenues also coming from China. Okay, so that's something very weird. Okay, so you know this is the event studies. Okay, my student took it. Okay, so once the trade war begins, okay, actually the Taiwanese firms are affected a lot. Okay. Okay, there are also a lot of the confrontation between the US and China. Okay, for example, like economy and other financial confrontations. Okay, and the US are targeting at the China's stock markets and the property markets, and also the China hitbacks. Okay, and so both sides, okay, they have a lot of the confrontations, severe confrontations. For example, US they have increased tariff, or they add the entity list. Okay, sometimes the announcements they tend to be on the Friday noons after the Chinese market closed. Okay, why is that? Because they try to make this announcement and make it has maximum psychological damages to Chinese investors. Okay, okay. And also the S&P's, Moody's, and the Fitch downgrade the China's credit ratings to increase Chinese the firms its capital cost, and to also guide it the capital outflows to other different to leave China. Okay. Also, they ban U.S. government's funds to investing in Chinese firms. Okay, etc. Okay. So you know, okay, this kind of financial world, okay, you know there are more than about 200 Chinese firms listed in the U.S. stock markets. Okay, but you can see because of the entity list, okay, added up. Okay, that means the entity list means all the import exports. Okay, they have to report it to the U.S. The governments, and also they have the danger to be delisted from the U.S. capital markets. Okay, so that it make most of the Chinese the listed firms in the United States, okay, have very difficult times. Okay, because of this. Okay, of course. American also have a lot of the prices and the costs as well. For example, like American CPI increased a lot because a lot of the tariffs actually American consumer has to pay the Chinese goods tariff. Okay, so once the American has to tackle its CPI, raise the interest rates. Okay, it also damages its capital markets as well. Also, the Russian-Ukrainian wars. I think I don't need to spend a lot of time on this. Okay, the main issues the caused by aftermath of the Russian-Ukrainian war is because of the inflations of the basic goods, particularly energy, food, and the basic materials. And also the asset securities, okay, because of the sanctions on Russian assets, okay. So that's why a lot of the countries, they are thinking about LOC and local currency settlements, okay, because of the asset is no longer secure, and also the international trades, okay, are easily to be interrupted, okay, by the sanctions, okay. And also we see the groupitizations or blockadizations, this kind of anti-globalization trend in the world economies, okay, particularly America and Europe, and versus the BRICS, okay, countries, okay. Okay, so okay, you know I feel Russia are totally defeated or Ukraine are totally defeated are unlikely, okay. So the results may be a prolonged okay, ceasefire without fighting, okay, but the war maybe will be lasting longer, okay. So we have to have this kind of the prepare that the inflations may be lasting longer than our expected, okay, because of you see the Russia and Ukraine, they have a lot of the metal and the energy exports, okay. Now in the final parts, I'm talking about some summarize of the global supply chain developments, okay. Okay, this is a so-called complex global value chain trade centers. Okay, as I said, we see from the previous similar slides, Deutschland, China, and the USA, they are the major trade centers. But once it becomes the so-called complex global value chain, okay, for example, you see a lot of the Japanese brands, American brands, okay, Korean brands, they're producing in China and other different countries. The picture is different. Okay, so this is a complex global value chain trade centers. Still, now Deutschland, China, Japan, USA, Korea are the major players. Okay, but we also have an industry 4.0, right? Okay, the technology can reducing the production procedures. Okay, because of the pandemics and the Sino-US trade wars. Okay, and the privatizations of the anti-globalization trends, we are seeing the way how to shortening the geographical of the supply chain. Okay, we call it the short chain revolutions. Okay, originally it was offshore productions to nearshore productions, then finally maybe become the reshoring of productions. Okay, so there is a risk in the shortening supply chain. Okay, and also the relocation of production process base. Okay, because Taiwan play an important role in the global supply chains. Okay, so we see the risks. Okay, once there is a relocations of the production process. Okay. For example, like the American. Okay, if we like to American firm like to go back to the Americans. Okay, you see they may be the government should subsidize 30 to 45%. Okay. Of the production cost, okay, because to producing American is much more expensive, okay, than the to producing in China, okay. So now American is also have a new strategy, so-called the friendship outsourcing, okay. So what is the friendship outsourcing? Friendship outsourcing means they have to find some friendly countries, okay. They are not be able to be using as a weapons to against the America, okay, and also try to avoid to giving the potential competitors, for example, like China and the Russia, the access to the strategic resources in the United States, okay, and let American friends, okay, become economy closed loop systems, okay. It was originally tried by Obama's TPP. Okay. Okay. Also, it combined with the Industry 4.0. Okay. Okay. So you know there is a high possibilities. Okay. That you know because of the trade war is basically try to reduce the trade deficit by United States. It seems there's no effects at all. Okay, American trade deficit actually is still widening. It is still increasing. Okay, but American try to relocate the industry and the supply chain. It seems that it has a partially effects. Okay, but of course they have to at the price of the high inflation. Okay, so now American shifting to the technological war. Okay. The technological war against the China also has a very little effects. Okay, so the American now they are okay increasing more efforts and the energy and the resources in conducting the technical wars. Okay. And also there is a financial and economical warfare, okay, against it. Okay, so you can see the trade balance by America and China. American seems its trade balance did not eliminated. The China still have the trade deficits, okay, and you see the U.S. trade deficit still have a historical high. German run its trade deficit for the first time in 30 years, and then Japan also have a trade deficit. Okay, it's very unusual, right? So there is an anti-globalization trend. Okay, so for Taiwanese firms, okay, we are quite isolated countries. Okay, we are outsiders by RCEP and also that by the TPP. Okay, so that's why a lot of Taiwanese firms we try to invest in China, Indonesia, Vietnam. Okay, try to become safer, to diversify the risks away. And okay, for example, we take the semiconductor company industry is the major industry in Taiwan. This industry have a very high centralized concentration supply chain. Okay, American rely Taiwan make wafers as high as 90%, and and also 70% of the precision chips are purchasing from Taiwan. Okay, so now they try to decentralize under multiple providers. Okay, so they try to find from American, from Europe, from other Asian countries. Okay, so now Taiwan we have a 90% share. So you know that maybe in the future, I estimate American outsourcing will reduce to 30%. Okay, so it is a serious blow to Taiwan semiconductor industries. Okay, and also, okay, so this is because time is limited, so I should give my final quicker remarks. Okay, so the localized short-term revolutions worsen, okay, Taiwan's positions. Okay, worsen Taiwan's positions. Also, the risk of supply chain, okay, will be highly possible to be replaced by the Southeast Asian countries. Okay, so how can Taiwanese company to be react? Also, American, you can see in the year 2020. Okay, American they have already tried to minimize, okay, their monetary policy to shorten their monetary policy. But in the year 2000, next 3 years, okay, American will, okay, even bigger monetary policy scale, okay, to tighten the monetary policy. Okay, so we are going to see in 3 years, okay, there is a very unstabilized monetary world. It also caused a lot of the country problems, for example, like the Sri Lanka. Okay, okay, so we have to invest heavily in the Southeast Asian countries. Okay, to take side. Also, you see the investing in Southeast Asian countries. Okay, actually make a better the outcomes. Okay, for Taiwanese firms. Okay, you know that in the past. Okay, why how Taiwanese company, for example, like a TSMC, is successful, because we see we make enemy become our partners. We are friends to all. Okay, but now it's become unsustainable. Okay, for Taiwanese firms. Okay, and so for Taiwanese companies, we have lots of the challenges, but not much good news for Taiwanese firms because of friendly outsourcing or short-term revolutions. Okay, and they will make Taiwanese firms the possibility to lose its positions in a global supply chain. But for the Indonesian firms, okay, I see there are lots of opportunity and good news, okay, because Indonesia is very lucky to be big enough to be neutral in the U.S.-China conflicts. And also the Indonesia is able to be sustainable in food and basic supplies. Okay. And also friendly outsourcing, and because enemy become partners, friends to all. It is possible for Indonesia, right? Because Indonesia is a neutral country. Okay. And also the short chain revolutions, because Indonesian market is big enough for multinational enterprises to tap into and become one of its regional producing centers. Okay. So in the next few years, I will see a very high FDI influx to Indonesia. Okay. So Indonesia will become highly possible to have a good trade surplus and also the higher GDP growth rates in the next few years. Okay. Because Taiwan experiences something similar, the historical opportunity, and I see Indonesia is going to have its new decades as well. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you for listening. Okay, this is my presentations. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pan. And well, it's always interesting to talk about the geopolitics globally, even though I think it's a little bit emotional when we talk about the US, but yeah, that's normal. Of course, we are trying to be neutral here, Dr. Pan. The things that in my mind is the terms enemies become partners, friends to all. You said it is unsustainable anymore for Taiwan. What do you think? That's so.
Sorry, you are asking me questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I cannot hear clearly. Can you?
Oh, sorry, I will repeat my question. So the terms enemies become partners, friends to all caught my attention here. You said it is relatable for Indonesia, but it is not for Taiwan.
Yes.
Could you please explain more about that?
Okay. Because you know the Taiwanese. Of course, we are Chinese. Okay. The Chinese, the businessmen, they are very practical persons. Okay. So even in the past, the Taiwan and China, we have a very the high political tensions between two sides. But still, we have a million businessmen in China. Okay, we have a million businessmen in China. So that means a lot of the Taiwanese businessmen, they put the political and any other different issues aside. Okay, and they are very practical. Okay, so you know the TSMC, for example, we are the manufacturer. For example, like Samsung and the Intel, they are rivals. But TSMC is the outsourcing manufacturer for Samsung and for Intel. Okay, so both sides, even though they are enemy, but still they are good friends to TSMC. TSMC are their good friends. Okay, so that's why the Taiwan is behind the supply chain, global supply chain. We play silently. We play our role. Okay, silently. Okay, so now it seems that because Taiwan now is in the hot point of the geographical confrontations, it's no longer possible for Taiwanese firms, okay, to be able to make friends to everyone. Okay, American want Taiwan to take sides. Okay, the China want Taiwan to take sides as well. Okay, so it's become very embarrassed. Okay, to Taiwanese industry and the businessmen and now. Okay, but I think Indonesia, you have the possibility to take the roles as Taiwan used to be. Okay. Okay, so that's what my perceptions on these issues. Okay.
That's very interesting, Dr. Pan.
Okay.
Hope everything will going better in the future. Okay, I have to appreciate you, Dr. Pan, because you're very concise with the time. This is already 40 minutes and you stop your presentation on time. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And for the participants, if you want to ask some questions to Dr. Pan, you can chat. You can put your question into the chat room. And I think there are some questions already for Dr. Pan. Maybe you can read that question while waiting for the last presenter present his ideas. Thank you, Dr. Pan. And now we move to our last presenters. Dr. Sandy, are you there?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm here, Bu Inaya.
Okay. Okay, before Mr. Sandy Arif PhD presented his idea, I would like to read a brief CV about Mr. Sandy Arif PhD. So Mr. Sandy Arif PhD is an assistant professor in Faculty of Economics, Universitas Negeri Semarang. He received a PhD with an award dissertation with no corrections or revisions from Department of Accounting and Corporate Governance, Macquarie University, Sydney, Australia. That's amazing. He is the research member of Center of Excellence at Communications and Technology for Society, University of Sydney Business Schools. Knowledge Network member of Australia Indonesian Center, Melbourne, Australia, and more. In 2020, he received the Emerging Scholar Award from Organization Studies Research Network at the University of Illinois at Chicago, USA. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Sandy Arif, PhD. The floor is yours, Mr. Sandy.
Okay, thank you so much, Bu Inaya, for your kind introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all doing fine. His Excellency, the Dean and all Vice Deans of Faculty of Economics, Professor Herianto, Dr. Dorojatun Prihandono, Dr. Amin Pujiati, and Pak Agung Yulianto. Two fellow speakers, Pak Gunawan Chokro and Dr. Pan Wenhua. I'm honored to be here among such accomplished individuals like you two. Distinguished participants, guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to present one of my research findings on how digital transformation is accelerating organizational innovation and performance. And I would like to link it in the context of post-pandemic future. I acknowledge International Macquarie University Research Excellence Scholarship for their financial support to undertake this study. Recently, I noticed this popular meme is going around on social media related to this question: who led the digital transformation of a company? The CEO, CTO, or COVID-19? That's a thought-provoking question to ask. Whatever we select will be the correct answer, but still, who do we consider was responsible for the digital transformation of our organization or company? Business transformation, specifically digital transformation, it's not easier piece of work and takes an enormous amount of effort, courage, and visionary leadership. The key elements, including moving from hardware systems to hybrid clouds, updating operational and financial software, enhancing consumer experience with the help of technology, devising a flexible and dynamic working environment. There is a statement from Mr. Jay Timson, the president and the CEO of the National Association of Manufacturers, that the COVID-19 pandemic affects significantly the business going on around the world. I would like to provide you a bigger picture to understand better the context of my research. Basically, I examined the antecedents and consequences of the use of information systems with emphasis placed on the effect of organizational culture and business information technology or IT alignment on the use of information systems, and the impact of information system on organizational performance via the moderating role of leadership. The study also examines the antecedent role of dynamic capabilities in affecting the use of specific type of information system, namely enterprise resource planning or ERP systems, and the subsequent impact on organizational innovation and performance. In this session, I would like to focus on the antecedent role of dynamic capabilities in influencing the use of ERP systems and the subsequent impact on organizational innovation and performance. In the rapidly changing business landscape, organizations need to develop dynamic capabilities given the need for the rapid change in organization resources. This in 2018 describes dynamic capabilities as an organization capacity to sense and shape opportunities and threats, to seize opportunities, and to maintain competitiveness through enhancing, combining, protecting, and when necessary, reconfiguring the business enterprise in tangible and tangible assets. Consequently, the dynamic capability view, or DCV, was proposed, which maintains that organizations create competitive advantages by being more effective at defining internal and outside resources and deploying strategic resources and subsequently building capabilities. While previous studies have examined the influence of dynamic capabilities on organizational innovation and performance, the majority of these studies have focused on the examining of direct association between dynamic capabilities with organizational innovation and performance. However, the literature suggests that information system resources, including ERP systems, facilitate dynamic capabilities, specifically strategic flexibility in enhancing organizational performance. In particular, information technology resources play an important role as the effective use of information systems enables innovation and organizational success. It is still unclear how information systems, such as ERP systems, are linked to the influence of dynamic capabilities on organizational innovation and performance, which spurs research on the process through which dynamic capabilities achieve such outcomes. Accordingly, this study is motivated to fill this gap in the literature by considering the mediating role of one such process, the business information system, in enhancing the success of two dynamic capabilities, which are employee empowerment and strategic flexibility. ERP systems were initially implemented in order to help re-engineer organization around the principles of real-time data integration, which led to greater transactional and reporting inefficiencies. As organizations gain more experience with managing them, the ERP systems have evolved into a platform for developing decision support application across the entire organization. This was a somewhat unexpected but well-documented benefit of implementing ERP system. Currently, with the huge growth in the use of real-time corporate analytics and big data applications, the ERP system implementation has become even more crucial. The current wave of ERP system research shows that users are even more focused on how to leverage the data from the ERP system for better decision-making. Further, some ERP experts are pushing for even tighter integration with decision support function and are promoting a new wave of integrated analytics to support improved reporting and provide greater operational insight. ERP systems are now viewed as the key assets from which corporations can leverage the huge amount of data generated by their various applications. For example, Umran Hassan, the senior manager of product marketing at Microsoft Dynamics, stated that machine learning, predictive analytics, and the Internet of Things are all areas that customers want to get more from, with their ERP system the key to enabling them to gather such information and to make sense of it all for their business. So if you want to know more about what is the definition of the ERP systems, I think there are so many definitions, but I refer to the It and Abbas in 2017, Shatat and Udin 2012, and the Huang et al. In 2009, that ERP systems are designed to manage organizational resources in an integrated manner from many different aspects within the organization. The literature has been proactive in determining the types of benefits that organization might anticipate from their ERP systems. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I would like to provide you with the specific types of the benefits of ERP systems based on Shang and Seddon in 2020 that divided the practical benefits of ERP systems into 5 categories. First, operational benefits such as cost reduction, cycle term reduction, productivity improvement, quality improvement, and improved customer service. Second, managerial benefits. For example, better resource management, improved decision-making and planning, and performance improvement. Third one, strategic benefits. For example, business growth, alliances, cost reduction, differentiation, and external linkage. The fourth, information technology infrastructure benefits. For example, reduced information technology cost and marginal cost of business units and increased capability for quick implementation of new application. And then the last one, organizational benefits. Support for organizational structure change, facilitating employee learning and building common visions. ERP systems have a relatively large market share when considered globally. According to a study by Elite Market Research, the ERP market is expected to be $49.69 billion with a growth in the compound annual growth rate of 7.2% by 2020. However, Sun et al. In 2016 found that 66% of ERP projects achieve less than 50% of the expected benefits. Therefore, in the view of such high value rates, both researchers and managers continue to analyze the antecedent factors influencing the extent of the use of ERP systems and the subsequent impact on the success of ERP systems. We assess the extent of the use of ERP systems based on the framework proposed by the Kalunki et al. In 2011 from 12 different operating sectors, such as business and planning, business intelligence and analytics, performance evaluation, sales and marketing, customer relationship management or CRM, e-commerce applications, procurement, inventory management, supply chain management, manufacturing and product management, service and maintenance, and human resource management or HRM. Now we are going to take a look more specific on the dynamic capabilities and organizational innovation and performance. For dynamic capabilities, we focus on 2 aspects, which are employee empowerment and then strategic flexibility. Why? The reason we chose the employee empowerment under the dynamic capability because there are concerns that human-related factors, including reaction and resistance to change, represent a significant barrier in implementing ERP systems. As we know, in the organization, we are trying to constantly change due to rapidly changing business landscape. And I think orientation to change is becoming now a significant factor to achieve the success of the organization. However, the employee, the stakeholder, and also the personnel within the organization are still taking time and effort to change or to adjust into the new environment or circumstances. In respect to strategic flexibility, has become increasingly important in the environment like what I said, where emerging technologies create a greater risk and uncertainty for organization operating in the volatile market or in the turbulence market condition and situation. So in assessing the success of dynamic capabilities, we focus on the organizational innovation consists of the exploitation innovation, and exploration innovation. In addition, to assess the success of dynamic capabilities from the perspective of the organizational performance, we take a look from three dimensions, which are financial performance, manufacturing efficiency, and customer employee satisfaction. A questionnaire was mailed out to 500 Indonesian manufacturing organizations that were randomly chosen from the systematics application and products in data processing or SIP partner in Indonesia. To ensure accuracy in terms of each organization profile, the contact details were checked against the Indonesian Stock Exchange, and then we selected middle-level managers in organization that had used formal information system for at least 1 year to guarantee that they were experienced in using the information system functionalities across business processes in order to support the organizational vision and objectives. In addition, the middle-level managers had experience in being charged of information systems or equivalent within an organization. A prepared self-addressed envelope was included in the mail out, and then of the 500 distributed questionnaire, 247 were returned, 156 in the first round, and then 91 in the second round. However, 19 responses were eliminated due to incomplete answers, leaving 228 responses for the final data analysis, and non-response bias tests were conducted by comparing the mean scores of each of variables between the early and late responders to indicating the absence of non-response bias. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are take a look in terms of the findings of the research. This is the diagram shows the result of the structure equation model to run the data. And now I'm going to proceed for explaining the details in terms of our findings. First, the study aimed to provide an insight into the mediating role of the extent of use of ERP systems on the association between two dynamic capabilities, employee empowerment and strategic flexibility, with organizational innovation from exploitation and exploration innovation, and organizational performance from financial performance, customer employee satisfaction, and manufacturing efficiency. Overall, the study provides empirical evidence that the extent of use of ERP system mediates the relationship between both employee empowerment and strategic flexibility with organizational innovation and performance. We found that the extent of use of ERP system was positively associated with organizational innovation and performance. Such findings emphasize the importance of the use of ERP systems in enhancing organizational innovation and performance. This is our recommendation. Supervisor can encourage employees to experiment with ERP system features by offering rewards for employees to find ways to using ERP system effectively. Supervisors should also ensure that employees will not incur negative consequences even if their implementation of ERP systems ends in failure. Further, to enhance the use of ERP systems, management needs to focus on participative and directive strategies by providing training for organizational members to avoid user resistance and to encourage them to appreciate the quality and potential benefits of the systems. Secondly, the study demonstrates the relevance of employee empowerment and strategic flexibility in enhancing the use of ERP systems. Ladies and gentlemen, research paid limited
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are so sorry for this inconvenience. I think we got some
Sorry, I
technical
think.
problems here.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I lost the connection. Is that right?
Okay, no, okay.
Yeah, you
Okay,
can
Continue,
continue.
Mas Adi, continue. Okay.
Okay. So where am I actually? Because I'm not really sure.
You lost already.
I'm not really sure what before losing the connection. Probably to findings. Is it correct,
Yeah, the
moderator?
finding. Yeah, that's right.
Findings?
Yes. And the second finding, I think.
Okay, so let me continue. I'm really sorry because the connection I think was down for a while. So I'm glad that back again. So sorry for that. So now related to the second finding, actually we suggest that if organizations create empowered employees, they tend to approach ERP system as a challenge and actually increase their level of system exploration, resulting in a greater extent of the use of ERP system. Such findings provide a new insight into ERP system usage. And now we are moving to the third finding. We found that strategic flexibility was positively associated with the extent of use of ERP systems. An organization with strategic flexibility is capable of rapidly responding to changes and succeeding in turbulent environments. This increased emphasis on strategic flexibility enables organizations to implement ERP system to greater extent in order to fulfill changes in customer demand frequently and react to competitors' moves. Therefore, to enhance strategic flexibility, our recommendation that management should be more alert to market opportunities and environmental changes and take initiatives to keep their technology up to date. Management also should focus on avoiding the dangers of organizational inertia and maintaining a sufficient level of flexibility in their structural and operational process to gain new opportunities and knowledge that can help them to obtain advantages through efficient adaptability and uncertain environments. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving to the limitation and then future studies of my research. This study has a limitation associated with the survey method, including the inability to assert causality and bias. This study is limited to a sample of Indonesian manufacturing organization, which may result in the findings being applicable only to this context. Accordingly, the future studies could conduct research using longitudinal data or focus on other national settings. For instance, future studies may consider investigating the use of ERP system in other specific industrial sectors, such as the transport and shipping industry, where information systems are an important part of their operation. Further, a number of alternative moderators could be tested. For example, based on my literature review, suggests that the turbulent environment plays significant moderating role on the association between dynamic capabilities and organizational performance. So I think for my fellow colleagues, if you want to do research, I think this becomes an idea for you, hopefully, for another research or for future studies. Now, because the theme of the conference in the context of the post-pandemic future. So what are the manufacturing industry specifically take aside? I quote this statement from the McKinsey Digital Report in 2021. It stated that the 95% of executives confirm or agree that the manufacturing industry will never go back to the way things were. If you look at the tables or diagram here based on the McKinsey Digital Report, the COVID-19 pandemic has fundamentally changed the pace of business the organization with superior technology capabilities are winning race. It means that organization with a solid, strong, and competent technology is leading to be the front runner in the very competitive climate of business. Second, this is related to the visionary leadership. As I've mentioned earlier, there is intersection between the employee empowerment and then leadership. So when we take a look at this diagram specifically, the effective digital and technology-driven strategies require deep involvement from technology leaders. That's true. This is the report from the US Manufacturing Organization, but I also have a data, probably we can discuss more on the Q&A session in terms of Indonesian context, even more in the context of the small and medium enterprises or SMEs. So maybe we can take a look from those two angles. So coming back to the bigger picture of my research finding, actually it confirmed that the three variables which are business IT alignment with the organizational culture, leadership, and then the use of information technology, specifically the ERP system, are significant predictors to lead organization to achieve their vision and mission and objective and to become a successful organization. I conclude my presentation by referring this quotation or statement, I should say, from the report of the New Digital Age, Rethinking Strategy for the Post-Pandemic Era. This is the reference. I think this is a very interesting report and a very comprehensive report. I think I recommend you to take a look more, to dig in comprehensively, because there are so much significant information related to the organization and then the turbulence in terms of COVID pandemic and other stuffs. So it says that the time is now for companies to make bold investments in technology and capabilities that will equip their business to outperform others. It means the technology investment is very essential for the organization. Thank you so much. That's the end of my session. And I will head over to Ibu Inaya as a moderator. And I'm so excited to receive any comments, feedback, or even a criticism to make my research and also, my knowledge better. Thank you. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Sandy. So this is a part of your dissertation when you were in Macquarie University. Is that true, Mr. Sandy?
Say it again, Bu Inaya. Sorry, could you speak louder, please?
Okay, so is this a part of your research when you did your PhD in your
That's right.
Macquarie University?
Yeah. That's right.
No
So
wonder
I
you get an award of dissertation with no corrections, right? Because that's amazing.
Right. So I derived, this one is as one of my papers from my PhD thesis, and like what you said, that I'm very grateful with the outcome of my PhD report. Thank you.
They talked about the enterprise resource planning system or ERP system. And one thing that in my mind, does it take a long time to implement this ERP in an enterprise?
That's correct, because actually it takes time, energy, and enormous effort actually to invest this kind of technology in the company. So that's why I think for the big company like manufacturing organization, because there is no other way to implement the technology as the competitors are now becoming very, very aggressive in terms of the pace of change and etc. And then I think there is a very interesting insight. So if we take a look at the technology investment in the organization, the question would be, what's the cost of not digitally transforming. Because I think, like what I said, that technology investment is very essential. And then due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it confirmed that the organization needs a stronger and more solid technology investment. It means that not only the big companies could implement the technology like ERP, but also the small and medium enterprises or SMEs as well. They can adopt or modify the kind of technology with a different magnitude or level. Of course, it's not unfair if we compare between the manufacturing organization and the SMEs. But take a look now. I think the SMEs in Indonesia, due to the COVID-19, they have to transform their business into the digital platform. For example, like the marketplace, Facebook, Shopee, and other stuff. So I think that's their magnitude, their degree to adjust with the rapidly changing business landscape. Bu Inaya?
Yes. That's very good, Mr. Sandy. And I think it's also answer one of the questions here, but we're going to discuss it later. Thank you, Mr. Sandy. Ladies and gentlemen, wow, these are a lot of information here because all of the speakers gave us new ideas. Dr. Pan talked about the global geopolitical and economic condition recently, and he described the conflict of interest are everywhere, how complicated is it, and every country has its own strategy to survive in this era. And then Mr. Gunawan Chokro introduced the breakthrough strategy from Indonesian government in using local currency settlement to keep the value of our local currency. And the last presenter, Mr. Sandy, come with the discussion with the micro perspective about ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning System, which are I think it will be very beneficial for enterprises and even the small and medium enterprises to adapt this system to keep surviving in this era. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for the Q&A session. I think you have got many questions for them. Wait, let's take a look at the chat box. We have the question from Ms. Wisudani Rahmaningtyas or Mr. Gunawan.
Yes.
Ms. Wisudani asked about what are our strategies to pursue other countries to join LCS agreement with Indonesia. Yeah.
Okay. Mbak Inaya, thank you for the time to answer this question. I see in the chat box there are 3 questions. But there are similarities. So I will give one answer for 3 questions at one time. And if the time permitted, I will later also have 2 simple questions to Prof. Pang and 1 question Mas Andi. So I will not just answer my
and Dr.
question,
Pan
but I will also
has question for you.
I will raise a question to the 2 speakers. 2 to Prof. Pang and 1 to Prof. Sandi. Okay, let me answer the question in the chat box. Well, how to make this LCS more powerful, more effective, and also can be expanded not only to 4 countries but also to other countries. That is more or less the question of the 3 questions
that's right.
So my answer is 1. What we do, as I earlier informed you in my presentation, that the central bank in the last June has kicked off. They called it the National Task Force Team. 16 people, consist of 16 people, 2 from the business community, I'm one of them, and then the 14 from the high level, from the ministry office, high level. Echelon 1, I don't know in Taiwan what do you call it. Echelon 1 is someone who is reporting directly to the minister. So it is quite a high decision. Why? Because central bank wants this LCS strategy to speed up the recovery, not only slow movement, but they do it fast, yeah, so that the result, as I mentioned, 5% every year can be achieved. So what we do now, together with the central bank leaders, yeah, we do socialization, yeah. As I earlier mentioned, we in last June we have a very big meeting in West Java, where all the textile industry get together in one big hotel, yeah, and then we with the senior deputy senior of central bank came to Sik Bandung, and with all of us, yeah, we give a presentation and then persuade the textile manufacturer in Bandung, in West Java in general, to follow this LCS program. So number one is LCS, yeah, and then in Bali, with the P20 set event meeting, where many also other participants attending, we also do the presentation, and then this year, this month, we'll go to Surabaya. There are many industry in West in East Java. We will do the same. Yeah. So number one is socialization. We continually do a socialization. Number two, the Ministry of Finance is now working on the incentive. Yeah, monetary incentive and non-monetary incentive. Yeah, yeah. Is of, for example, this is just an example. For example, if you are participating in this LCS program, then maybe from the tax point of view, yeah, maybe you'll be not on the top priority, something like that, yeah, or maybe your imported goods in the port will can be released faster than the others, something like that. Yeah? That is the Ministry of Finance now is doing all listing all the incentive, but we have not come into the final decision. But again, incentive.
Gunawan,
Yes.
what about the non-monetary incentive?
Yeah, non-monetary incentive means that ease of doing business. Yeah, maybe license faster. Yeah, if you have problem, for example, if you have problem now, you just go to the task force team, and the task force team, because 14 ministry, so the task force team can help you to solve the problem, something like that. Yeah. So if any problem you face of doing business, so the task force team is ready to help you, something like that. That's non-monetary. Yeah. And then so socialization and then incentive. Yeah. And one also the most important thing, I think this is very important for you to know, because central bank has a very good database. Yeah, so central bank know who is selling, who is importing, and how big. Yeah, so by doing so, when the time comes, we will call them one by one. We will call them one by one. Coming to the central bank, we persuade, look, your transaction with China is so much, we like you to join this LCS. Yeah, we give you this incentive. Yeah, and I think if even the big businessmen, if invited by a central bank, I don't think they will say no. so I think that is the this is all the list of strategy what we are going to do. Important thing I have to tell you that this LCS program is not just only talking, should be in action. Yeah, 5% every year, 5% every year. But we can also do too fast. Yeah, because then it will create problem with US. Yeah, US might complain also if you do too fast. Yeah. So again, as I mentioned earlier, LCS program is not going to replace US dollar in the system, payment system, but rather to offer business people to give them an alternative. Yeah. So again, yeah. So that is the what about expanding to other country? Yeah. We are working on the Pareto principle. Yeah. 80-20. Yeah. Because the biggest trade transaction now with China, 60 to 70 billion. Oh, this is important. Yeah. And we can do with China that is already 50% finished your job. Yeah. So we'll do slowly, but we will focus on China, Japan first. These two countries very big, yeah, and also growing in the future. Plus the Malaysia and Thailand is now still small, but growing up. So if we focus on the 4 countries, I think for the next 2-3 years before we jump up to other countries, I think that is good enough. Yeah, we do it slowly, slow but sure. Yeah. Okay.
Slow but sure.
I think that is, I don't know if my answer is satisfy you, but I think that they have already covered the 3 questions.
And
this-
also,
Yeah.
sorry, I also
Yeah.
can provide some other different perspective. If
Okay.
we, when you mention about the monetary incentives,
Yeah.
in order for the big multinational enterprises,
Yeah.
how to control the monetary risks. Okay, the monetary exchange risks is also a very important issues. Okay, by transaction using the local currencies, we can largely eliminate the exchange risks as well.
Okay.
So that's why there's incentives for the importer or exporter to do so.
Yes, okay. So Prof. Pang, maybe after this we also do LCS with Taiwan, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, we will expand it to Taiwan. Yeah. Okay, that is the answer of the question. Yeah. So can I raise my question to Prof. Pang before I?
Sure.
Okay, please. Please.
Yeah. Okay, I have 2 questions. It is a simple question, Prof. Pang. Number 1 is you mentioned about the geopolitics in your presentation, but you mentioned only 2. One is US-China trade war, and then Russia-Ukraine. What is the possibility of the China-Taiwan being included in this or in the geopolitical? Yeah, I personally believe that there will be no war between Taiwan and China, because talking about business people, they have been working together for many years, and you have also a lot of investment in China. Yeah, so I never believe. Yeah. When my wife watching the TV worry about this, no, I don't think there will be a war. Yeah, I don't believe there will be a war. But again, I like to get your view on this issue, whether I'm correct or wrong. That's the first question. Number 2 is the last time I have a talk with the former Vice President, Mr. Budiono. Mr. Budiono used to be our Vice President during Icebees time. Yeah, and then he said, Gunawan, you know, the first Cold War ended about 25 to 30 years, and now the world is entering to the other Cold War, West and the East. But again, the leader in the East is no longer Russia or Soviet Union, but China. What is your view on this? Thank you.
Wow, what a big question for
Yeah,
Dr. Pan.
after Mr. Prof. Pang, I have one question to Mas Andi. Yeah.
Okay. I
Go
think it's a very challenging questions. Okay. You know, because but I can answer it from the business perspective. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, you know, because I'm teaching the country risks. Okay, I'm talking about the political or country risk in my classes. Okay, you know, before a country they have potential risks or dangers, there must be some signs. Okay, before it really happens.
Okay.
For example, like the capital markets. You know, the capital market is very sensitive, particularly rich men. I
agree with that. Yeah.
But once there is the real danger, the capital market, they will have fluctuations, right? Yeah. Okay, I think because as a banker,
what happened last week when the China sent all the troop? What about your money market or your capital market?
Yes,
drop up.
So far in Taiwan, the capital markets actually is very peaceful and
okay. So they don't believe there will be a war.
yeah. You know that even the capital markets, the most sensitive capital market, there is no reactions towards this. Okay, so then you can see that actually most of the people in Taiwan we see everything is not have a great the dangers, okay, in a real great dangers to us, okay. This is from the capital market perspective. I think it is quite good answer, right? As a banker, I think you know what I mean, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And also, the Russia used to be a big superpower, militarily, okay. But because of the economic recessions for the past 20 and 30 years since the collapse of the Soviet Union, and Russia now is become a major primitive resource exporters countries, okay, just like Saudi Arabia, okay. It's really pity, okay, but it's a real fact, okay. In terms of the GDP, okay, actually the whole Russia is smaller than Guangdong province alone. Okay, the China, we have the Shenzhen and the Guangdong, right? They are all in the Guangdong province. Even now, the Russian GDP is smaller than Guangdong province alone. It's less than 1/10 of China. Okay, so in terms of the potential, okay, potential muscles, resources of the countries, I think China is really the next superpower. Now the China is about almost 80% of the GDP of the USA. But in terms of the real manufacturing, China is bigger than USA.
Yeah.
Okay, and only China has a little bit in some high tech, they still have some disadvantages. Okay, but I just read a very interesting article about because we are all educators, right? The STEM students. China has more STEM students, STEM, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics students.
Okay.
It is US and the whole Western Europe all combined together. They are less than China's STEM students.
Amazing.
Okay. And also Indonesia, Iraq is also a big STEM country. You have a lot of the students, they are undertaking STEM courses. Okay, so Indonesia also have a very high manufacturing potential in the future because of you have the huge human reservoir, okay, for the STEMs. Okay, so of course, I think the Western they are trying to targeting the China as the next the superpower. I think it is correct one. Okay.
So this is going to be a long.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that will be a long confrontations.
Okay.
That I also can offer some very interesting the opinion to everyone here. When China's GDP slightly outpass Japan. So at that time, a lot of the Japanese scholars, they question that the China GDP is not true. They are the false GDP calculation, something like that. Okay, but now since Chinese GDP is 3 times more than Japan, there is no longer such a questions. Okay.
The real GDP or PPP?
GDP.
GDP. Okay.
Yeah, GDP. Okay, so now there's no longer such a questions on it. Okay. So the China now is crossing to the USA. Now is in a rivalry. Okay, but once China, if they can continue, say 2 times bigger than the USA, I think there is no longer such kind of the stalemates, okay, to each other. That's from my own opinion. So sometimes we feel that we should be get used to. In particular, we are Taiwanese, so we just live next to China. Okay, so we have to get used to that situations, and then we have to choose the how to safeguard ourselves. Okay, safely and happy. Okay, thank you very much.
One more, Prof. Peng, is it true that you mentioned in your presentation that the chip market in the world 55% coming from Taiwan?
Yeah, 65% of the chips
okay.
making by Taiwan. Yes,
okay.
that's true. Okay, For the TSMC, this company alone is producing 55% of the world manufactured chips, the semiconductor chips. So Taiwan
And
is
the second
really
one
a
is
high-tech
from
country.
Korean, I think.
Yeah,
Is that
the
correct?
other, yeah, the Samsung is another rival, but Samsung is roughly just 1/3 to.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact
Thank you.
of the chip market.
Yes, yes.
Okay. And Dr. Pan, the first question from Mr. Gunawan is related to the question from the participants here, who is Mr. Kamal. He's asking you about the best movement for Taiwan in responding to potential conflict with China, and does this problem affect Taiwan's economic stability? I think you have mentioned it earlier that it's okay with Taiwan's economic stability.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. You know that in fact, as I mentioned that the top 10 exporter in China, 7 of them are Taiwanese. Okay. That means a lot of Taiwanese companies, they don't feel they are at risk because they are already in China. They are producing in China. Okay. So that's something very weird, but that's true. Okay. And we already become part of the China economically, you know. Okay, even though politically we are still separate, but economically we are highly integrated. So for the businessmen, they don't see it is a big danger. They don't actually, so the potential dangers between two sides actually don't affect our economy at all. That's why the capital markets, they don't reaction at all. Okay.
That's a good news. And the next question is from Ms. Nina Farliana about the friendship outsourcing in the future. And this is the strategy of US. And I think the other country also can imitate this strategy. Won't it lead to a worsening trade war globally?
Yeah, sure. You know, even though the friendly outsourcing, there is a friendly there, but friendly is to someone, but hostile to the others, right? Okay. So for example, the friendly outsourcing, that means it is very hostile to the China-centered supply chain. Okay. You know, now Taiwan is the major, as a major parts of the China production chain. Okay, so that therefore it also casts a lot of the shadows to us as well. So that means, for example, Taiwanese company has to move from China to Korea, to Japan, or to other American friends countries. Okay, rather than to stay in China. Okay, but we as a Taiwanese, we have advantages to operate in China because we are all Chinese. Okay, we know the languages, we know culture, how to manage the Chinese level. But once we are in, for example, Mexico, we are in Indonesia, those Taiwanese firms still have those advantages. Okay, I think there's a doubt and a question there. For example, I see a lot of the bad cases for Taiwanese firms, failure example in India, okay, because the culture between India and the Chinese are very distant, okay. So it's very difficult for us to manage the Indian levels, okay. So you know, once the American want us move to India, for example, okay, I think there is a disadvantages for Taiwanese firms, obviously. Okay, so friendly outsourcing is friendly to someone, maybe also friendly to Indonesia, but very unfriendly to Chinese, and also unfriendly to Taiwanese as well. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Pan. And now we move to the question to Mr. Sandy. She asked about what is that? How to measure the activity of this transformation, of this digital transformation that you've mentioned before. I think the rest of the question you have answered in our discussion earlier, but the thing that hasn't answered yet is about the effectivity, how to measure the effectivity of ERP.
Oh, I think, thank you so much. That's very interesting question. So related to the effectiveness of the ERP systems, I think it really depends on the sectors and also in the, which kind of like industry that implement that kind of system, simply we say ERP system, but digital transformation in general. So maybe we can take a look from the vendors, because most of the vendors or providers of the technology definitely needs to collaborate intensively with the organization. So you have to have a really open communication or discussion between the organization and the vendor. And then not only take a look from the short-term period of time, but also in the long run in terms of the profitability and then the maintenance costs and also the other stuff. And from internal company, maybe the company could evaluate by themselves that whether the employees are increasing in terms of the productivity level or not. So if you are implementing the technology, whatever the technology is, but then the productivity and then the performance of the employees and also the employer are distracted or disruptive, so it means that you have to question whether the technology right choice for you or for your organization. So there are so many factors. Maybe we can take a look from a two big chunk, which are the internal factor and also the external factor. And then I think the main objective of the organization definitely to provide the added value for the customers, right? To engage with the loyal and also to gain the new potential customer. So we have to also respond the customer's feedback, whether the technology used in these sort of activities or maybe a process business of the organization is effectively satisfied for the customers or not. So if the company tick all of these boxes, so I think you are on the right track to implement the technology. But then if you think that the boxes are empty in terms of tick, so meaning you have to rethinking and reimagining whether this technology is suitable or adaptive for your organization. Because at the end of the day, I think this kind of a very main principle that if we are investing whatever the technology or in the human resource as well, we have to take a look the cost and benefit analysis. And I think, that's my answer. Thank you for Pukara, I think, right? The question.
Yeah, right. And the last question, before the question from Mr. Gunawan, of course, the last question from the participants is from Asri Susanti, asking about, can this ERP system work in all types of organization, including universities? This is interesting. What do you think, Mr. Sandy?
Yeah, I think the university now are very adaptive in terms of, the technology adjustment. I'm not really sure whether the ERP is applicable for the university, but I think there are many technologies with different names that integrate many segments, many modules. For example, the human resource department, the financial department, and also the, students department to integrate in one strong, comprehensive system. And I think every university even, modify this kind of system. Based on my knowledge so far, there are other industries that use ERP system, for example, like hotel, hospital. But then for the university, I believe they use similar kind of system, but with a different name, different approach. Yeah. But then for university, in terms of transforming and transferring the knowledge for the students, I believe many big universities in Indonesia, for example, like Gajah Mada University, Universitas Indonesia, even they have their own ERP research center. And Widya Tama University in Bandung, they have ERP research center to provide such kind of like a training or certification program, so their students understand and also know what kind of ERP system. So hopefully when they graduate from the university, so they can find a job in the big company or organization, as we know that ERP is most widely used system in the manufacturing industry in Indonesia or even across the country. That's it for Indonesia.
Thank you, Mr. Sandeep. And
sorry, roughly 20
yeah.
years ago, when I just first to teaching in the university, at the
Yeah.
time, Chinese companies, we have widely introductions of the ERP systems. Okay, so a lot of ERP system, the primitive of ERP system has been introduced in Taiwan about
Yeah.
20 years ago already.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it helped Taiwanese manufacturer to become the powerful manufacturer in the world, particularly in the global supply chain. And also, how can we become a part of the global supply chain? It's because of our ERP system is linked upstream and downstreams with other suppliers, even with the customers. Okay, so they are not only working for the in-house alone, but they connect it. Okay, from company to company. Okay, so they link together. Okay, so it will largely increase our competitiveness. Okay.
That's right, Dr. Pen. And I think now, as we know, that's why the Taiwan is one of the countries that very leading in terms of technology, right? In semiconductors, in cell industry, and other stuff. And then I believe that now, in terms of ERP, in the context that now we are heading to the cloud ERP systems and also the other stuff. So I think we have to really keep up our pace, to engage with this kind of very rapid change in technology.
Yeah. And the last question. Oh, sorry, please, Dr. Pan.
Now I would like to also mention that because in Taiwan, particularly the high-tech industry, there are shortages of the manpower. The engineering graduates in our universities for the master level, for example, their annual salary can reach about 40,000 to 60,000 USD per year for the fresh master graduates. Okay, fresh, the master students. So actually, we are hoping that more Indonesian students can come to Taiwan because yes, really, because the high tech is moving from South Korea, Taiwan, maybe one day to Indonesia. So
hopefully,
gain experiences in Taiwan first. Okay,
it will waiting for that
very good
time.
In the future.
We have Miss Asri from ONS. You interested to join this conversation, Miss Asri, because you have a chat following the question you asked before. She said that she was once a team for implementing ERP system at UNS in Solo, but it was very difficult. Has UNS also tried to implement it?
Okay,
what
so
do you think, Mr. Sadi?
Thank you, Bu Asri. I think based on my knowledge, so let me correct. Maybe you can correct me, Bu Inaya, if you know, probably this kind of situation. But I believe that UNES not yet implementing the ERP system. So we are trying to, integrate our system into one. But we are very fully committed to make it happen because we also have many applications, but probably the application is shattered in many different functions. But now we are heading to make our application, our processor, our models into one under real-time application. So I think we are heading, to this right direction. And I agree with Bu Asri because, the drawback if you don't have any supportive organizational culture. So I think the resistance to change and resistance to, implement this kind of system is definitely becoming a issue itself. Because the exploration of the new system is not easy, right? You have to train the employee, you have to train all personnel within the organization, and also they are pushed, to out of comfort zone. So I think that's not comfortable situation for everybody to change into the different or probably new situation. But when we are expecting the result, the performance, and also the innovation are becoming higher than the cost, so I think you should do it. And I think, based on this question, I think UNS is to be honest, step ahead
Yeah.
from us,
Right.
yeah, in terms of the implementation of ERP system. But I think we're getting there. Thank you, Bu Asri. Yeah, and I believe that probably we can stay in touch because I think you have, personal experience in terms of implementing the ERP system in higher education institutions. So maybe we can collaborate one another to make a paper or two research. So thank you, Bu Asri.
Who knows, Mr. Sandy will be the project leader for this ERP system in UNES. Who knows? So the last question from Mr. Gunawan. You want
Okay.
to ask something to Mr. Sandy?
Yeah, I have one question to Mas Sandi. Yeah. First of all, I would like to congratulate Mas Sandi for the very deep and comprehensive research papers. Yeah. I think I appreciate what you have presented to all of us. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Gunawan.
One in your conclusion, one of your conclusion after your presentation, you said that the technology investment is essential, right? Technology is essential for the company. Yeah. I think I agree partly on that because now if you look on the banking industry, every year they spend a lot of money to upgrade their software. In our company, in my group, I think we start implementing this system in the late 80s. And then that time we use the computer associate software from US. Cost 600,000 US only the software before without the implementation fee. But after a while, gone already. I don't think if the computer associate is still there. So in the early 2000, we moved to SAP. Yeah. And I still remember we paid 2 million US. I think for 8 factories that time. Yeah. 2 million US. But today we have a very strong team. So we can cascade. Yeah. So every factory we open, not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries, normally our team is strong enough to implement the system. So no, of course it becomes. But again, what I'm going to say, this technology is not cheap. Yeah. And not to mention our plastic machinery. Yeah. We are running a plastic packaging companies. We have 37 factories in 6 countries today. Yeah. And technology moving very fast. Yeah. And if you don't invest, you finish because then your project become expensive. Yeah. Your lead time, cycle time become not efficient and everything. But again, what I'm going to ask you here, if the technology is so essential and the technology will more or less determine the direction of the company in the future, yeah, what happened with so many other companies who cannot afford to jump into this kind of technology? In Indonesia, almost more than 90% of the Indonesian business people are in the small scale and medium enterprises. Yeah, and I don't believe that they have resources, to invest in this kind of technology. Not only in the money, but also the size of the business is not visible. So what is your view on this? Because of what I'm afraid, there will be a very big gap in the future. Yeah, the giant go faster, investing a lot of money, go fast, but the small stay. So the gap becoming very big. What is your view on this?
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Gunawan. I think that's very insightful question. And to be honest, I think Faculty of Economics, on behalf of Faculty of Economics, because Bu Inaya and I are the faculty member here, probably we can collaborate with industry more to gain, industry perspective. So I think we
we have. I think we have a 17 UNES student working in our factory. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Magang.
Great.
6 months magang. Yeah, I think
Internship.
last time we coordinate with Bu Dekan Tandio and
okay.
From low faculty.
From sport.
Okay.
Tandio from sport science.
Sorry.
What really great, Pak Gunawan. Yeah. Okay, so I think coming back to your question related to what about the small medium enterprises? This is very interesting data because the Australia-Indonesia Center, AIC, in Melbourne, Australia, that I'm part of the center as a knowledge network member, just released a research project report on digital business transformation in Indonesian SMEs. And then interestingly, Pak Gunawan and also Dr. Pan and other, the other participants, because when we talk about the Indonesian SMEs, you're right. I mean, you are absolutely correct that they account for 97% of the domestic workforce and 60% of national economic growth. So basically, the small, medium, micro enterprises are the Indonesian pillar of economy. So what about them? If we have to really keep up with our technology, and then even says that the technology is a must, quote and unquote. So interestingly, Pak Gunawan, the importance of digital integration for SMEs was recognized before 2020 by national and provincial government in policy position. So government also understand that actually SME needs a such kind of specific platform, not comparable with the big companies, but they have their own league. They have their own pace. They have their own ecosystem in the digital transformation. Because the need to improve, in terms of the level of small, medium enterprises are definitely essential. The government claim that there are many issues to upbringing and or uplifted the Indonesian SMEs. For example, internet connectivity. How come they, pay the internet connectivity if we're talking about micro business? And then also the regulation and skill training, because back then, like 2 years ago, the government tried to subsidize, the small, medium enterprises in the process of digital transformation. And then when we discuss about the digital transformation into SMEs, we are not talking about the multi-layers complex system exploration, but then we're talking about the simple and user-friendly, budget-friendly system. For example, like the free marketplace, Shopee, Tokopedia, and other stuff that consider a digital transformation used by the small and medium enterprises, or GoFood, GoCheck, or GoPay. So I think they have their own characteristic and uniqueness, definitely constrained with their own budget and resources, but we have to take a look in the bigger picture as an Indonesian roadmap. And interestingly, Pak Gunawan and also Dr. Pan and other participants, because in this report, they are interviewing more than 9,147 participants as business owners in the ecosystem Jakpreneur, or Jakarta's Entrepreneur Program. And then the report stated that 95.7% of its SMEs moving the business online. Otherwise, they have no scenario B. With the COVID-19, if they are not adapting into the online business, so definitely they're dead. And then the second one, followed by the 24.3%, they said by adopting the business online, or online business, I should say, reducing labor and working hours. It means they gain more profit than the traditional business approach. So I think, Pak Gunawan, I should say that we understand, because if we are talking about technology, we have to really take a look deeper, the resources, the objectives, the budget, and also in terms of the ecosystem itself. Because if we are trying to push them into the big company, to become like a big company, they are going to go to the struggling time, and also it's not effective for them. So that's not wise and right decision, I think. That's my thought, Pak Gunawan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's very interesting discussion, gentlemen, here, but we only have 5 minutes to wrap up our discussion here. It's very insightful and productive discussion we have with Mr. Gunawan, Mr. Sandi, Dr. Pan, and all the participants here.
Actually, I have something, I have a comment and question, to be honest, to Dr. Pan, but probably I should email Dr. Pan individually, Dr. Pan. So maybe hopefully we can, do a research collaboration or something like that, Dr. Pan. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, actually, I'm really interested to hear your question to Dr. Pan, but I'm so sorry because we have the time limit here. So I have to wrap up our discussion. Thank you, Mr. Gawan. Thank you, Mr. Sandi, and thank you, Dr. Pan, and all the participants here. Thank you for your active participation and your curiosity to ask to our presenters today. Well, I think that concludes our plenary session. It was meaningful and very insightful discussion. I do hope the ideas exchanged between speakers and participants today will be beneficial for all of us. And one more time, please join me to give a big applause to all speakers and participants today. Thank you very much. Thank
Terima kasih
you.
Mbak Inaya. Ya,
Terima
Thank you
kasih
so
Pak
much.
Gunawan.
Pak Gunawan, thank you.
Kapan selesai dokternya? Dokternya kapan selesai?
Baru
Terima
sebentar
kasih,
tinggal ya,
terima
Pak.
kasih.
Next year, Pak
Terima
Gunawan,
kasih.
hopefully.
Ya, sukses. Oke, sukses.
Pak Gunawan, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
Dr.
Dr.
Pan.
Pan, thank you.
Terima
Ya,
kasih
I
Pak
learned a lot from
Gunawan.
you.
Thank you
Ya,
very much, Dr.
Oh.
Pan,
Oke,
Pak
thank you.
Sandy, and also Bu Inaya. Such very good discussion this morning.
Ya, Pak
Yeah.
Dekan.
Thank
terima
you,
kasih,
Thank
Pak
you,
Dekan.
Prof. Heri.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Terima kasih, Pak
You're
Dekan.
very welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Inaya as the moderator for today's plenary session. I'm signing off here and I will hand over it to the master of ceremony for the next agenda. Thank you very much and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih. This year, please, Miss Amelia.
Seminar internasional.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Inaya. Thank you for all the speakers for sharing with us here today. And thank you to Ms. Inaya Sari Melati, SPD MPD, as the moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, the committee already shared the attendance link. Please, to all participants, can fill the attendance form. Next will be coffee break session. To all participants, please can join again at 1 p.m. to proceeding to the next session is publication workshop and parallel session. Thank you and see you again at 1 p.m.
Hanya bilik bambu, tempat tinggal kita, tanpa hiasan, tanpa lukisan. Beratap jerami, beralaskan tanah, namun semua ini punya kita.
Memang semua ini milik kita sendiri.
Hanya alam-alam, pagar rumah kita, tanpa anyelir, tanpa melatih. Oh. Hanya bunga bakung tumbuh di halaman, namun semua itu punya kita.
Memang semua itu milik kita. Lebih baik di sini. Rumah kita sendiri. Segala nikmat dan anugerah yang kuasa, semuanya ada di sini. kita beranjak ke kota yang penuh dengan tanya.
Lebih baik di sini, rumah kita sendiri. Segala nikmat dan anugerah yang kuasa, semuanya ada di sini. Rumah kita ada di sini. Rumah kita ada di sini. Rumah kita ada di sini.
Asli Jawa Timur loh. Kan yang enam berarti mbak Perpati toh. Enak men mbak Ita. Langsung nih. Komputer jembatan nih betul. Komputer jembatan nih betul.